This video is going to look at examination technique and focusing upon how you can apply your answers to the given case study. It's for GCSE Unit 1 and 2 for the AQA award. With any of this, I'm going to offer suggestions, hints, tips and strategies, but there isn't a prescribed one way works for everything, so you might be doing really well, getting good marks, good grades, and you might do it slightly differently. Okay, so this is just some different approaches and strategies that you could apply. The importance of application is massive. Okay, you could be a really good candidate, you can explain your answers, you can link, you can create chains of arguments, but if you don't link it to the given case study, you're really going to restrict the grades that you could achieve. Okay, for example, on here this is a mark scheme. Okay, it clearly shows level 2 and level 3, the only difference is context. Okay, so if you explain it really well, but you've got no links to the case study, no links to the information that you've been given, you can only get 2, which is effectively half marks. So, which would kind of be D territory. Okay, but you could then write the same answer, but apply it to the context, and you're getting 4 and 3. Okay, which is obviously A and A star. Okay, so it's a really simple thing to do that would improve your grades massively. You've got to remember that on the exam that you do, it could be maybe 4 marks between a grade. Okay, so by you applying to all of the answers is going to help massively in terms of your final grade. For both examinations, you'll be given within each paper 3 case studies. So it will effectively mean that you have 3 parts, and each of the part refers back to the case study. Okay, the case study is your friend. You can use it. It has lots of answers. It guides you. It gives you information which you can then use in your answers. It'll be relatively short. You're trying to read through, look at keywords, and really kind of learn and understand about the business. But one obviously kind of common sense point is that the first set of questions will be based upon the first case study, the next set on the second, and then the third set on the third case study. The example that I'm using is one that is given to us from the examination board. Okay, so the question being, explain one way in which Veggieland's Limited benefits from operating as an ethical business. Okay, you're focusing upon how ethical benefits Veggieland's. Okay, so the one on the left is well explained, well developed, well linked, but it has no context. Okay, it does not link to Veggieland's. With the one on the left, you could apply that to any business. It is so generic. So, for example, it's important to have a business with a USP, and being ethical makes you stand out from other businesses. That could be any business. That could be anything that stands out. It doesn't relate to any of the information that you've been given. Being ethical is a good way to get noticed and attract customers. Yeah, absolutely. Another benefit is people will respect you more because you are treating staff so well. So you are less likely to be criticised in the media. Yep, that's solid explanation at the end. But that's not applied to Veggieland's. It's not been linked. It doesn't link to the case study that you were given previously. Okay, so the one on the right, again, the explanation is fine, but it's just the linking to Veggieland's. So, for example, it starts off, if Veggieland's Limited is run, straight away it has to link to this company because it's named it. Okay, you then couldn't say it doesn't link to Tesco's, it doesn't link to Morrison's, it links to Veggieland's because it states it is run as an ethical business. It will help motivate the staff. This is because they'll be paid more than other restaurants. They're operating as a restaurant, so that's application, that's information that you've got from the case study. Okay, it doesn't link to a jeweller's, a butcher's, a bakery. It's a restaurant, so they will feel valued. If the staff are motivated, they'll be less likely to take time off and not want to let other crew members down. Within the case study, staff are referred to as crew members. So by doing 3 simple things, naming the restaurant, highlighting the fact that the industry it's working in are restaurants, and then using something like crew members as opposed to employees, it is linking, it's explaining it in relation to Veggie Land. The one on the left you could apply to any business. The one on the right, by doing a few key things, is clearly linking to Veggie Land. It's going to get 4 marks out of 4. With that question still in our head, effectively, what are the benefits of Veggie Land Limited of being ethical? Okay, if we just go back to the case study, Veggie Land is a chain of vegetarian restaurants based in London. The business is owned by 4 friends who operate Veggie Land Limited ethically. For example, ingredients are locally sourced and staff wages are higher than other restaurants. So that's the application, isn't it? Okay, being ethical, having locally sourced products, how would that help the business? The example I showed you looked at staff wages being higher than other restaurants. How is that going to benefit the business? And the next point that I picked up on was that the brand has become trusted and the number of customers continues to rise each year. So that's application, isn't it, if you explain that? So with the brand, with Veggie Land Limited being a trusted brand, this has increased the number of customers and therefore they're going to be making more money, etc. Okay, so that you could have used as application. So within that case study, the case study gives you the answers most of the time to the questions that you can then be answering. Okay, so if you didn't talk about staff being motivated, there are a couple of other points that you could have drawn upon. Later on for the same paper, it finished with a 9-mark question. Okay, so the question being is, should they continue to open up new restaurants themselves, or should they go down the franchising model? Okay, so you're looking at the new restaurants or the franchising, then you're deciding which one that they should use. Oh, one thing with the application, the questions will say will say clearly that you've got to link it to a given business. So which of these 2 methods of expansion do you believe would be better for Veggie Land Limited? It's not looking at expansion generally. The previous question wasn't looking at the benefits of being ethical generally. It was focused upon this given company. So within there, you've got to then link it back to the case study. So if they continue to open restaurants themselves, go down the organic route, it's been successful, so why change it? It says in the case study that the business has been successful, so explain why they'd want to change it. Okay, might be more financially rewarding to expand organically, so you'd be looking, by saying Veggie Land, the business, the 4 owners, it would benefit them more financially because they're the ones who are doing the growth. They're the ones that are going to get 100% of the profits, and it's not going to be shared out within the franchise. The 4 friends, they've started the business, they own the business. If you go down the franchising route, their model will be changed. Okay, so you could talk about that. You're not just talking about, okay, with a franchise, people would come on board that have different opinions, you're not directly controlling the branches. That's generic explanation. But if you're talking about they have 4 friends in place, that links to the case study. Those friends might not want to change their role because you're then explaining it in relation to the case study. If they were going down the franchise route, they are an ethical business, so if they went down franchising, would this be continued? So you'd be saying, like, currently Veggie Land Limited have ethical aims and objectives. A risk of going down the franchising route is that this could be watered down. It could not be as prominent as what it should be, and that's linking it to the case study. It mentions within the case study that the brand has become trusted. Could this be tarnished? Okay, so you'd say, right, the 4 owners have established a brand which has been trusted. If they went down the franchising route, there is the potential that this could be damaged by the franchisees, perhaps not upholding the standards that the original 4 owners would hold. With that explanation and development, there's no question that it links to the given case study. Currently they've got 6 restaurants. Franchising would be quicker. So you'd be talking about in the case study that, okay, they've opened up 6 restaurants, but if they went down franchising, this could be quick expansion, could be done at a faster rate. Okay, so when you're looking at that, you're trying to find snippets that would suggest that it links to the case study. This last slide is looking at kind of hints and tips and things to look for in terms of your application. Obviously, all of the case studies will be different. All of the case studies will give you different pieces of information, but these are the kind of things that you should be looking for. So, at the very basic level of application, use the name of the business within your answer. Okay, use the name of the person within your answer. Okay, if it's a he, refer to the person as a he. If it's a she, refer to them as a she. Okay, at the most basic level, you are then starting to apply it. So, for example, the question back there about being ethical for veggie lands. The benefits of being ethical for veggie lands are, you're then linking it back to the case study. Okay, look through the case study. What products and services are they providing? How successful is the business? How well it's doing? When you look at the previous one, it said they've become a trusted business. You could link that back to being ethical. Okay, the previous case study also looked at that they'd opened 6 restaurants. Okay, that's reasonably successful, isn't it? So you could expand upon that. Are you given any numbers? Are you given any statistics that you could use? Okay, you could then apply those to the given case study. What are they trying to achieve? Have they met those targets? Who's their target market? Okay, these would be the types of things that you're looking to use. Okay, so the biggest aim, hint, tip would be, what's the situation facing that business? Then, with all of your responses, you link it back to that. Okay, at the end, when you've got an answer, could you link that answer to any other business, or the fact you've referred to its name, the fact you've referred to the situation facing itself, means that it could only be applied to the business that you've highlighted. So test, could the points and analysis you make be linked to any other business? If it can, it means you've written a generic application and you'd be struggling to get into the top marks. If it can't, because you referred to the name of the business, because you referred to their situation, their products, their services, their performance, then it could only be linked to that business, then perfect. An example might be that you're looking at, okay, discuss if they should use a bonus or staff training. Okay, look through the case study. Are staff well trained? If they're not, then that could be the right approach. Do other businesses receive bonuses? If they don't, then of course you can then refer to the bonus being the most appropriate route. If a question was about, should AP Limited do on-the-job training, look through the case study. Do they have good staff that could do it? Do they have the right facilities? There was one recently about a fire safety training company. Should they do on the job or off the job? And the case study said that the specialist facility was excellent. It was delivered by experts. They had the first class facilities. You would then use those points in terms of saying, yeah, okay, off the job training might be the best approach. So in summary, your answers need to link to the case studies to get the top marks. How you do that is that you refer to the situation that is facing that given business. The very, very, very least thing that you should do is make sure that you mention the name of the business. Okay, hopefully that helps, but if you have any questions, just come and ask.